Good morning. Today is May 7th, 2016. I wanted to do a quick Hobbit Greenhouse devotional. Today's topic is Yahweh Magen, which is Yahweh Shield. Magen means shield. And I wanted just to talk a little bit on that. I brought for you guys, we keep talking about Yahweh, and in the Hebrew, I don't know if we can see this very well, but Yahweh is made up of 4 letters in the Hebrew, and one is a yod. I don't know if you can see that. Good morning, Israel. But anyway, a yod, the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and then a hey, which is this letter here. Can you see that? This and this. So a hey, and then a vav, this little, and then another hey. So it's yod, hey, vav, hey. And that's those letters. You know, in the Hebrew they don't have the vowels, so it's a question. And the vav, that vav can be pronounced like a wa. So that's how come you get the Yahweh YAHWEH, you know, and probably neither. Anyway, whatever the correct pronunciation is, I go for the Yahweh. So we're talking about Yahweh Magen today. Now, Yahweh is the most used name for God in the Old Testament. So you'd get Yahweh Elohim. Yahweh is used over 6,000 times, and in Psalms, Yahweh is used over 600 times. So there's a couple of books in the Old Testament. I think maybe Job, and maybe, anyway, I'd have to look it up, but maybe Song of Solomon, that Yahweh doesn't show up per se. You know, they use a different, either Elohim or El or Shaddai. But anyway, we're not talking about that. I guess I am. So anyway, so Yahweh is the most used name, and of course nowadays they don't want to say Yahweh, but you know, Scripture says that the things that are revealed are for man, and the things that are hidden, you know, are God's. And of course, part of the kingly mantle is to search out things. You know, that's what a king does. So anyway, when you search out things in the Scripture, you're acting that part of the function as of a king. Anyway, so there we are. So Yod, the 10th letter, Hey, the 5th letter, Vav, the 6th letter, and Hey, the 5th letter. And in the Hebrew, the letters can also be numbers. So that's 10, 5, 6, 5. Adds up to 26. Anyway, I don't know what that might mean per se, except Yahweh. And I always like to think, this is just food for thought. 13, of course 26 is 2 13s. 13 is like the number of God on earth, in that there were 12 disciples and then Jesus. So he's the 13th. So I always like to think about 13 as a good number, because that's the number for me, for Jesus walking on earth with his 12 disciples. Okay, well, Magen, I am really taking a lot of time here. I meant to make a very short talk, and I may still. Now, Magen comes from the root word gana, which means to hedge about. Gana means to hedge about. And they used to, and even today in Africa, they will hedge about a village with thorn bushes. So they'll make a hedge for protection, also to keep the cattle from wandering and things, but it's to help protect. So that's the root word, is to hedge about for that's all we need is an early morning motorcyclist. But that's what we have. Anyway, it's about 6:40 a.m. right now. So now whenever you hear the Magen, of course that's used often as a girl's name, Magen. But Magen shows up 63 times in the Old Testament. And Yahweh Magen, or Magen YAHWEH, it shows up in both forms, but has to do that the Lord is our shield. And often in the verses that use, well, the first verse that uses the word Magen is actually Genesis 15:1, and God's talking to Abram. It's before his name is changed to Abraham, and Yahweh tells him that he's a shield. He says he's a shield, and he's his reward, his payment. Actually, in the Hebrew, it can mean payment for a contract, but it can also mean reward. So Yahweh is shield. He's the hedge about us, and he's also our reward. Now, when Magen is used in other verses, it'll have it'll give some other characteristic that goes with it, and sometimes it's his help. It'll be like help, Magen. He's our surrounding protection. So you got a shield of help and a shield of favor if you look in some of the verses. Now, the word Magen would mostly have to do with the small shield. It talks about the small shield and the large shield. And the small shield would have been, in my thinking, would have been like the Star of David. Two triangles interwoven together to make a shield. You guys have seen the Star of David. So that would be, but it also says that shield surrounds us. In other verses, it's a surrounding help, surrounding protection. So you really need to get in your heart that Jesus, Yahweh, is your surrounding protection. Of course, in the New Testament, it talks about the shield of faith. And of course, Jesus is our faith. He's our shield. He's our help. He's a surrounding protection. So that's the other word for shield. Another word for shield in the Old Testament is Tsinna. And it comes from the root word thorn. So when Solomon made his shields, he made Magen shields, small shields, it translates, and then he made Tsinna shields, which the translation is large shields. And the Tsinna shield, and I'm probably saying that all wrong, it's Tsinnah is how they, transliteration into the English. Anyway, it should sound something like that. But I always get the tss and the probably pretty much wrong. But anyway, that shield, the only reason I bring that up is it's kind of like a thorn shield, and it's a larger shield. And so I think it must come down to a point at the end, and it must be a full body shield. And it talks about in Psalms about a shield, that Yahweh is a shield of favor. It says Yahweh surrounds encircles us with a favor shield. So we've got the favor shield, the shield of favor, and in the Hebrew it leaves out all the articles. It just says favor shield, and it says Yahweh encircles favor shield. So he encircles us with a shield of favor. But I like to think on that he protects us with his favor. And whenever you see the verses about under his wings, we're hidden under his wings, we're protected under the wings, that's a reference, of course. The wings is the wings of the cherubim over the mercy seat, and also in the Holy of Holies you had the mercy seat, the Ark of the Covenant with the cherubim, and then you had large cherubim wings covering that. So whenever you hear the verses about under his wings, you just know that it's at his seat of mercy, and that's what we need, don't we? So we always need his seat of mercy and his protection. And so may you guys be protected today. May you know Jesus, YHWH YAHWEH Magen, as your protection. And may you think on that today, that he's protecting you with his favor and with his help, because that word for surrounding protection can also mean help. So I think it's atar. But we'll talk about that some other day. Anyway, that's becoming very long. Okay, love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.